Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today is a very exciting video. We are joined by an analyst that we've not yet had on the YouTube channel. And Cody is an essential part of the business. So Cody, I just wanted to thank you for coming on and sharing with us some of your knowledge.
Yeah, thank you, Logan. I'm glad to finally make an appearance and give a few of my opinions about some things.
Absolutely. So in this video, Cody is going to go over the SPY chart that we're looking at today and how he's going about analyzing the market. So Cody, take it away.
Yeah, so this is our daily chart here. This is where we open today. I think the biggest thing for us this morning was that we actually did kind of make a run back from where futures opened up down here. So we were able to kind of bring it back up to this 432 level. And the 432 level, in my opinion, was a very big zone, kind of having all of this, resistance over here. And we actually weren't, able to push over that at open. So that was my first kind of bearish sign for today. That being said, we also have, kind of had this wedge here that we've entered on SPY, not been able to, kind of hold in this as well today that we lost. So those are two kind of beginning signs for me to think that we were going to be pretty bearish today. The main thing that I kind of highlighted here actually, and I wanted to go over some things that I usually talk about with some of our members, is price action. So seeing these top wicks here in this box I've got, and really also not seeing any bottom wicks, to me was actually a huge sign that we were, the sellers were winning this battle here.
Yeah.
As well as, if we can kind of throw a trend in here, you also see that we lost this kind of micro trend right here, which between, rejecting this resistance with these top wicks, showing bearish price action, and then also losing this micro uptrend, this would have been probably the clearest and best puts entry today, in my opinion. You also did, have another situation here where we were able to break below this with quite a bit of momentum, these full, kind of solid red bars we see here. And then we pulled back up to this, kind of support turned resistance over here. And we actually threw another big inverse hammer candle bar right here with just a big top wick, not really any bottom wick. So that's another bearish sign that we would probably continue after seeing this 5-minute close. We can take another look at the 1 minute on some of this. But yeah, I mean, you see on the 1 minute, we're going to see a lot more exaggeration in price. So we did kind of push over. That's where you'd want to stay patient and kind of check all of your different time frames out. But pulling back under here, you can see we tested this resistance again, and we weren't actually able to get over that, which caused us to take another dip here. And then kind of going to what we're seeing now, at least, is that we're kind of playing with the support zone here at 422 down to, or 422 to 423-ish. In my opinion, kind of having this another micro trend and retesting up here, retesting this trend, and now remember the support trend turned resistance at this point. I am actually kind of bearish here, thinking that eventually, this will probably end up turning into a lower low, hopefully instead of getting over this 423.5 area. And then I'm hoping we'll pull below 422.7 and then lose the low of day going into power hour, which seems like we've got a 2-hour mark here, but we can definitely see that we're retesting this. So, kind of my main thoughts at this point would be watching this 423.8 zone. You can see we're kind of starting to try to reject from this bar. We're going to bounce back and forth here a little bit. But if we are able to get over this 423.8 area, this could definitely be a good entry on some daily calls looking for 424.8 or above, at least above this high over here. But that being said, I'm definitely thinking, at least hoping as of right now, that we will not get over this 423.8 area and we'll pull back down here. But there's been a few other stocks I've been looking at with some price action as well. I'll pull up AMD here. AMD was one I was talking about in my call yesterday. We were watching for below this 108, 107 area right here at open, for us to really kind of come all the way back down to 105. And even I said, looking for 100, if below 105. But you can see here that we did kind of find a support a little lower at 104.4. and kind of started to pull back up, but we haven't really been able to get over this kind of resistance zone here from 107.5 down to a 106.4.
Yeah.
So AMD is another one I am personally quite bearish on this week. We'll take this to an hour time frame so we can see a little bit of the bigger picture. But yeah, if we're able to lose this 104, AMD's been in this kind of, uptrend since June, May. So losing, and we can make this look a little bit better. But losing, that level this week could be a very bearish sign for AMD going forward. Losing this low specifically, which would, kind of tell us that we're starting to form lower lows, lower highs, really kind of continuing this downtrend, even breaking this uptrend over here that we started, as I said. So AMD, it's a very telling point this week, in my opinion, as far as what it's going to do in the future. If we are able to lose the 100, the 103 level, I do think we probably continue down. We probably continue down for the next few weeks, at least to the 90 to 95 level. But vice versa, if we're able to hold this week and kind of turn bullish and end the week positive, I definitely think that we would end up coming back up and retesting this 115, 117 level here, and then potentially, based on everything going on with Ukraine and Russia and the whole rest of the world, if the market does turn bullish, this could be a pretty great share buying point right down here to kind of go long on AMD for the future.
Definitely.
But those are, kind of two things I'm watching right now, AMD and SPY. It seems like SPY has pushed above our level. Let's go back to a 1 minute here. Check this out.
Looks like it may be trying to.
Yeah, definitely trying here. Another big thing with this is anytime we're running a micro trend, at least in my strategy, I'm not, basing a pure entry or exit based off just this. My main thing now would actually be wanting us to, at least if I were to close puts, would be wanting to see us get over this 424.3 here, which we can see has definitely some significance in today's chart. And that would also, going back to the creating trends, that would create a higher high here, but we actually do still have a higher low. So, if we do happen to reject here and pull down and lose this, we're still looking very good on puts at least.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts as far as, what's going on currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have a couple of questions looking at your charts. So I notice a lot of your trading is done based on naked trading. First of all, I don't see any indicators, right?
Yeah, so I do throw in a few SMAs occasionally. Typically, it's not my main kind of indicator, but I'll run usually a 9 and a 15. So we can throw those in here.
Okay.
Kind of explain a little bit about this, but yeah, typically it's support resistance with price action. That's going to be my main go-tos.
And when you say support and resistance, you're referring to these horizontal levels, which you have highlighted in blue, and also your, support and resistance lines that you're drawing.
Exactly. Yeah. So some of these big, kind of levels where we see a lot of interaction with the chart, is going to be, very, very big to me. So, typically I wouldn't look at a 1 minute to find my support resistance. But looking at a 5 minute is probably where I would start, at least for like scalping and kind of daily plays.
Yeah.
And looking at, some of these, I just put this one here. You can definitely see some significance with where we've had wicks test over this level, and not quite be able to hold. So this is definitely a pretty significant level in my opinion. And, kind of going back to this price, level here, I do kind of like the look of the puts still. We're rejecting from this SMA here. We tried to get over it, we couldn't, as well as this micro trend that we could not get over. And now we're kind of starting to form an inverse hammer. So definitely as of right now, at least on this 5 minute candle, we're definitely looking bearish, thinking that we should at least come down, and test 422.9, if not 422.7. And obviously we're hoping to get below those levels as well. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I'm going back, with these SMAs at least. Definitely a big thing for me as well is playing the 9 cross on the 15. So 9 under
Mm.
15 is another bearish sign for me, crossing below that is, and then 9 over the 15 is going to be another bullish sign. And obviously these aren't like, specific things that I take a play just based off those. But, using that with some of these different price action things, and, having these support resistances to see the price action around, kind of all combines for my main strategy. So, kind of you can see down here where I highlighted this as well, that we also have the 9-day SMA, kind of holding above this price action here and not actually letting the price be able to get and hold above that is a big thing as well.
Yeah.
Along with, and you'll see, I'm sure you're very well familiar with this, you'll see a lot of SMAs line up with different trends or different supports and resistances.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, SMAs are great. I think it's definitely something to have for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because you and Austin both use SMAs and I use EMAs, but they all
Okay.
prove the same use case.
Mhm.
I also see that you use post and pre-market. So how do you use those in your trading?
Yeah, so pre-market is probably the main one I focus on. Post, not too much. And I mean, you could definitely say post-market, kind of has the same significance pre-market would. But I think, as far as me making trades throughout a given day, I like to look at the pre-market that day. And how I use that really is mostly the high and the low of the pre-market. So obviously, we're not too worried about this high. I don't think we're gonna go back and test that towards the end of the day, but if we were able to, kind of fall down and hold this level here, then this high would have really been where I was looking to retest as long as we were over these SMAs. That would be kind of my main first resistance point for the day, as well as the low here. So the low, you can kind of see another cool thing that lines up is this top resistance point right here that I had marked actually lines up with the low of the pre-market.
Yep.
So yeah, I think the low and the high are the main two that I'll use. Obviously, you could say you have a lot of resistance slash support here in the pre-market with this 430.45 level. So that could have been another sign. Once we got below that level here, to take an entry to the downside or at least be a little bearish on it. But yeah, I think the high and the low are my main thing with pre-market. But I definitely look at those levels and consider those to be pretty valuable throughout the day.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's something that I should even be paying more attention to because I never look at post and pre-market ever. So I'm interested
Yeah,
to see how it impacts your trading. But it's very
definitely.
interesting how you use it.
And you can find a lot of these levels that line up, as I just said. I mean, a lot of the low of pre-market could end up lining up with an SMA that you use or, another support resistance. And that's kind of how you can verify these zones as actually like significant zones.
Yeah.
Really kind of rely on those to make some deep trades.
Yeah, and we can see your trade here starting to work out itself as well, which is very nice.
Yeah, hopefully, we are starting to test this 422.9 level like I spoke about. So hopefully we can, continue to push down here. The big sign for me as well, as I mentioned earlier, was this lower low that we had from here. So we're definitely still, bearish here.
Definitely still on the downtrend.
Until,
Yeah.
yep, until we get below that 424.3 level, like I talked about, I probably wouldn't consider anything, bullish, cutting my puts or entering calls.
So is that how you're usually using your stop losses? You're looking for new highs to be made or new lows to be made in the opposite direction of your trade?
Correct. Yeah. So mental stop losses for sure. I had my time with, putting in the actual stops, and I do suggest actual stops if you're not able to look at your position or, really kind of manage that effectively.
Yeah.
But for me, yeah, mental stops, and support resistances, and really, yeah, watching, as you said, kind of the price action to wait for something, at least to kind of scare me, waiting for something that's going against my position.
Yeah.
And until I see that, I do really kind of take pride in being patient and having kind of a lot of confidence in your plays and your beliefs.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why obviously we did see kind of another push up here, and I wasn't too worried about it. So as long as like I said again, as long as we don't get over that 424.3 level, I am cool, calm, and collected.
Yep. And then if we do get above the level, you know exactly what you need to do.
Exactly. I've already got my plan set, ready to cut them and potentially look at some other things. So
Yep.
yeah, I think that's another good point as well as always having a plan. A lot of people will enter this and they'll get scared by something like this, like just these little push-ups. And it kind of, it makes you uneasy. It doesn't really give you the best, trading manner, I guess I would say. And it can kind of make trading really difficult on you if you don't really have a good set plan.
So is that your biggest note to conquer some trading psychology things that may bother people? Having a plan?
Having a plan and lowering your position size if you're a beginner.
Absolutely.
Lowering, I think you put in some money and you obviously don't expect it to fall right away if that's if your goal is making money, that is. But a lot of people end up seeing that happen because it's very hard to perfect an entry and get the perfect entry on a play. So lowering position size can definitely make that initial like 5-10% loss that you might see seem a lot less worrying, which can definitely give you the confidence to hold that play throughout the day, which in a lot of cases can end up meaning that, you go from a minus 10, 20% to a plus 50, 60%. So
Definitely. Like you said, very hard to pick the absolute best entry.
exactly. Yeah, definitely. You got to give yourself a little bit of leadway and, have that flexibility to be able to lose some for sure.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to give away too much on this video, but Cody does run calls very frequently in OBR, so if you are a member, you have access to that. Cody, how often are you running those calls now?
Every Sunday, 7:30 Eastern. Yep.
You guys heard it here first. Every Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm also going to link Cody's personals in the bio. So thank you, Cody. Thank you so much for coming on and talking a little bit about your process.
Man, I can't wait to come on again. We're gonna have to do a bunch of these. I'm
We will
looking forward to
do
it.
many. Was just an introductory call for sure.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll see how these puts work out towards the end of the day, and hopefully some of our OBR members bank pretty heavy.
Absolutely.
They have been. So
Absolutely.
yeah.